Charlie Ham will kick off. Fair catch made by Northwestern, and we'll get a chance to see this Wildcat offense coming off that win over UTEP last week. Close game at halftime, and really they exploded in the third quarter offensively, and Ben Bryant was a big part of that before he went out with what was termed a minor injury last week.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on his health. You know, he did spend a lot of time in the training room this week trying to rehab, practiced every day, but be ready for some rotation at that quarterback position, as we mentioned. And you talk about coming back, 38 unanswered points versus UTEP to give them the win.
Quick handoff on the end around. That's A.J. Henning, the transfer from Michigan, and he's going to pick up a first down on first down. Right at the yard marker to gain maybe just a tad bit shy. Let's see where they mark it. Had to get to the 35. He's going to be just a little bit shy.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to watch for the big tight end grouping. They have the big bunch of tight ends there. This Mike Bajakian offense wants to run behind the big boys. He's going to leave 2-3 tight ends on the field. Bunch of different formations, bunch of different shifts and adjustments pre-snap. Duke has to be on top of their game with their film study and their prep.
Fake to Porter, and the pressure came from the edge. R.J. Oben from his defensive end spot pressuring Bryant and just throwing that one away.
Yeah, R.J. Oben, son of former offensive tackle for Louisville, Roman Oben, 12 years in the league, and coaches say R.J. has really stepped up. Kind of a quiet guy, but he has made his presence felt on the field and in the film. Quarterback sneak situation.
Third down and less than a yard. They're going to try it, but they may not have gotten there.
They got it.
Ben Bryant, the quarterback keeper.
Duke defenders think they held. Only had about a yard to make it. Bryant didn't get there. It's fourth down.
Yeah, and in the middle of that defense, Dwayne Carter and Jamion Franklin, the two big boys, and really good push. You see Duke getting their pads under the Northwestern offensive lineman pads. That is a big stop on third down, forcing a punt.
Hunter Renner into punt for Northwestern. Not terribly deep, but high up in the air. Takes a terrible bounce for the Wildcats and will be down at the 44. 22 net yards on that kick, so it'll be good field position for Duke as they take the field. And an opportunity to see Riley Leonard for the first time this afternoon.
Yeah, and we talked about Riley Leonard and his prowess at that quarterback position. Kid out of Alabama who's a big high school basketball player, and during that COVID time his mindset changed a little bit. Went from being a scholarship athlete, scholarship recruited athlete in basketball to committing to football, and he found his home at Duke. Didn't have many offers out of high school, and he has proven his worth on this Duke Blue Devil team.
Leonard will look to throw on first down. Overshoots his receiver, intended for Jordan Moore. Just too tall for the 6-foot former quarterback out of Loyola Blakefield High School in Sykesville, Maryland.
You see what he's done at Duke last year, which was his first year as the go-to guy. Watch out for his legs. I mean, he has a tendency to pull the ball down and just run. He showed that against Clemson week 1. It can be any down.
Fake to Waters again. Now Leonard rolls out. Has blockers in front of him and a lot of room to run. He'll slide and pick up the first down.
And there's the first opportunity to see his legs. Anytime you have a bootleg with a quarterback that can pull it down and run, just such a weapon, such a numbers issue for the defense, keeping contained while covering receivers.
Domlin with a really nice block on that play. They gave him credit where he began the slide, which was before the down marker, so it'll be third down and 1. Very similar to what we saw on the first possession for Northwestern. Let's see if Duke can pick it up where Northwestern was unable to do so. The tight ends in motion for the Blue Devils. Northwestern showing pressure on the edge. They bring it. Waters spins away from it, though, and picks up the first down. Northwestern had a shot, Mark. Just couldn't quite bring down Waters.
Good play call, good timing with the corner pressure off the edge. You see 35 sneaking in, and Waters just does a good job of going beast mode and picking up those extra yardage. And that's what we're gonna see from this running back room, right? You're gonna have Jordan Waters, Jaquez Moore, Jalen Coleman, kind of their speedster, hasn't seen a lot of action, but he's healthier for this game. They will pound you up the middle.
Leonard to throw again. Underneath, watch out here, big hit. Brings down Higgins after a short gain, maybe 3 yards. Rod Hurd brought the hurt.
Yeah, he did, and Rod Hurd, he's a guy who had his first career sack last week. He's a physical downhill player, and this Northwestern team plays a lot of zone with eyes on the quarterback. Good breaks out of that zone coverage.
Leonard throwing downfield, it's his tight end. Takes it out first down. Almoin on the reception. Garnet Hollis on the coverage, but not before a 12-yard pitch and catch.
David Braun not only is the head coach of Northwestern, but also the defensive coordinator. And he told us that we can't worry about the amount of yards we give up, right? They are going to move the football. It's about the points that we give up. And it's very interesting. Both Duke defensively and Northwestern defensively have given up those yardage, but have made stops in the red zone. Northwestern's looking to do that here.
Calhoun in motion. He'll be in the slot at the top of your screen. Give to Waters. Up the middle, lots of room. To the 10, to the 5, stiff arms the defender and gets in the end zone.
That's a way to put an exclamation point on the opening drive for Duke. Jordan Waters, after fighting for that first down, you see his explosive ability and great job blocking by the offensive line, especially that left side. Good movement, good second level block by their tight end up on the linebacker, and one-on-one with Jordan Waters in the open field. That is a tough task for a safety to bring down.
Todd Polina with the PAT, and Duke on a beautiful day for football here in Durham with a beautiful opening drive. Finished off by Jordan Waters, 24 yards to the house. Blue Devils on top early. Finished it off. Brian Dekansky will kick off for Duke. And Coco Azama is there to return it. Instead, he'll let it bounce into the end zone for the touchback. Let's take a look at our auto owner's insurance drive recap, Mark. It was a quick one for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, it was. Not much resistance from Northwestern defensively. You see that good block by Dalmolin, which you mentioned, and it was on the ground game, right? On the third down, the big run to pick up the first, and then Jordan Waters with the long one to the end zone. This offensive line for Duke is one of the best in the ACC, and Graham Barton, their left tackle, is one we're going to keep our eye on. He's Mel Kiper's #2 center, actually, for next year's draft.
Might be the oldest offensive line in college football. Barton is a senior, and he's the pup in this group. Full of graduate students. Porter trying to run on first down, trying to find some space, and gets about 4 yards.
And look for Cam Porter for Northwestern to get going. He had a great day last time out. 17 carries, 90 yards on the ground. Also a couple of receptions. They love his productivity.
Bryant finds Cam Johnson. He's trying to find the yard marker. He gets there, 7 yards on the reception. Chandler Rivers brought him down, but not before he picked up first down yardage.
And Cam Johnson, another one. Coaches said they want to get him the ball more. Played at Vanderbilt from 2018 through 21 and had over 70 catches in the SEC. And then transferred to Arizona State, now here at Northwestern. They love his productivity, and they want to get him the football deep.
Bryant to throw, he looks that way again, not open. Now checks down over the middle. Couldn't find Marshall Lang, his tight end. Pass had a little bit of mustard on it for being so short. Lang couldn't bring it in. Here's a good look at Ben Bryant. Speaking of transfers, was it Cincinnati? Transferred to Eastern Michigan, transferred back to Cincinnati, where he is right now.
Looks like Jack Lausch has checked into the game. That backup quarterback who's going to be playing some roles at wide receiver. He's down towards the bottom of your screen.
There he is,
right there in
12.
motion.
Give it to Hyman. He's got nowhere to go. Stuffed up at the line of scrimmage.
Joseph Hyman, the ball carrier. He is covered up by Duke's number 8.
Yeah, just an overwhelming performance right now by Duke's defensive front. Good leverage, good attacking angles. And third down, you got to watch out for Wesley Williams, number 97, defensive end. Right here towards the top of your screen.
Duke looks like they want to bring pressure. They've got 6 right at the line of scrimmage. Bryant to throw. Has pressure, trying to find Johnson downfield. There's a little bit of hand tugging. No flag, though, as Miles Jones was in coverage. The transfer from Texas A&M that this Duke defense is really excited about. That one-on-one coverage downfield, forcing Northwestern to punt.
I mean, how could you not be excited about a cornerback that's 6'4", 195 pounds, and is able to play physical? And you're talking to his coaches. They mentioned the fact, Tyler Santucci mentioned the fact that, hey, I coached him before when he was at Texas A&M. He had a couple injuries, but last week built a lot of confidence for him, and they have a lot of hope for his play. Wow.
Whoa, kick. It's not going to be as terrible as it looked right off of the foot of Hunter Renner, but that's 2 kicks that Renner's not going to want to write home about. 28 yards on the kick, no return. Duke with the ball on 2 drives. A big part of that is Dwayne Carter, one of the captains in the middle of this Blue Devil defense, and we had him mic'd up pregame. Let's take a listen.
Let's go! We win it. 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 Simple. We want from rags to riches. Let's go. It's a great day to play ball. It's a great day to play ball.
Redshirt senior from Pickerington, Ohio. Been a leader on this defense now for the last few years, Mark. It seems like we've mentioned his name and talked about him at length for some time, and his folks there, Kristen Carter and Dwayne Carter, senior, who played at Ohio State, from Ohio in attendance. They come to just about every game, so good to see them here. Finds his receiver. That's Calhoun over the
Riley Leonard's pass.
14 yards for the first down.
Jalon Calhoun.
Want to get Calhoun hot early. Kevin Johns, the offensive coordinator, said we want to get him the ball as many times as we can in space. Uses athleticism.
Leonard has time. Now the pocket collapses, but look what he can do with his feet. Cross midfield, slides down after a gain of 7.
Yeah, it's just so dangerous and so frustrating for a defense. Good job, pretty decent rush lanes, and at the very end, okay, you almost got to me, and now check out my speed. Right? He's just really a multifaceted quarterback. Was 12 for 12 last week, 100% completion percentage. His backup was also 100%. I've never seen a stat line like that ever before.
Second down and 3. The give to Jacquez Moore. No room to run on the right side. As a matter of fact, he's going to end up losing a yard or 2. Sherry, what do you got for us down on the field?
Well, guys, talking about Riley Leonard, he was going to play college basketball before receiving an 11th-hour offer to play quarterback. And I asked offensive coordinator Kevin Johns, and he says 100% he sees his basketball skills really playing a role in football, particularly kind of he saw in that play, his spatial awareness. It's like a fast break in basketball. He really can make people miss. And I got to say, watching videos on YouTube, Leonard can also dunk.
I mean, we just saw 360 right there, so clearly for 6'4", the guy has some ups.
Yeah, a lot of guys can dunk, right? But you watch his other film from basketball, like he handles the ball coming down the court. You know, he distributes it, no-look passes.
Yeah, you can understand why he was thought of as a recruit for basketball as well at some level, because he has the full game.
Oh, yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is his creativity, that you see it on the field at a quarterback, and that creativity made him so dangerous in basketball.
see how creative he is on this play, 4th and 1. Coach Elko leaving the offense out there. Leonard's got Moore behind him. He's going to opt to keep it himself, and Moore gives him a push. Let's see if that was enough. I don't know. Northwestern thinks they were able to hold on 4th down. We wait for the official call and the placement of the ball. I agree with you, Mark. I don't think he made it.
It's a timeout for a measurement.
Like I've said before, this is a dinosaur in college football, a measurement.
I know.
If we get one of these a game, we used to have timeouts for these things. We measure like 15 times a game.
Let's check it out here. Again, similarly to how Duke stopped Northwestern, Northwestern's defensive linemen just tunneling under the offensive line, and it just stops the feet of the quarterback.
Our referee, Mark Klaczynski, couldn't make the call with the naked eye, so he brings the chain gang in, and it's not even close. Good 1.5 feet shy, and this is going to fire up the Northwestern team here on the road, making a stop defensively. You saw Bryce Gallagher, 32, celebrating on his way back to the sideline. That linebacking core and that defensive front doing their job.
Absolutely. Bryce Gallagher, a leader of this team from that linebacker position, and they need stops like this early in this game to reestablish the confidence they built last week against UTEP. And now, great field position for Ben Bryant and this offense.
Bryant fakes to Porter. He's going downfield. That was underthrown, and closest receiver was Bryce Kurtz, sprinting downfield, but Jeremiah Lewis is probably the closest player to it. That's a Duke Blue Devil.
And to watch his throwing motion, see if there's anything abnormal about it. Just not a very well-thrown football. Again, we mentioned the fact that he got banged up against UTEP last week.
Just 1 for 5 to start the game today.
Yeah.
He'll give it to Porter, who's met in the hole, spins free, and picks up a couple.
That was a hit.
Terry Moore coming up from the safety spot.
That's a statement. Find yourself one-on-one in the hole with a running back. Boom, form tackle. Good job holding on to wrap up.
Cam Porter is 220 pounds, too, coming downhill at you in that hole. 3rd down and a long 7. Bryant to throw. That's a nice looking throw right there to Kurtz. 12 yards on the out, 1st down.
Yeah, great throw. Good timing. Threw that ball before the wide receiver was out of his break. There's a good ball by Ben Bryant.
Into Duke territory. Northwestern wants to go quick, held up by substitutions. Porter shrugs off one tackle, won't shrug off the second. Ausi on the stop, give him 3 yards on 1st down.
I love how Duke's secondary, especially those safeties, they come downhill and they fill holes at the line of scrimmage, not 2 yards downfield, at the line of scrimmage. Good tackle.
Sophomore Joseph Hyman in the game now, a tailback. Love this man's playmaking ability. Now to the left of Bryant. Bryant fakes the handoff in the backfield. Carter and about 4 of his teammates met him there.
Man. Watch number 90. Inside move, beats the block of the guard and the center, and makes his way into the backfield. That's a big-time play. An athletic big man move to be able to go back door on an O-lineman and still make a play front side. Brings up 3rd down and long, and Duke all across the line of scrimmage now, showing pressure.
Tied in motion now, he's going to stay in the backfield to help pick up some of that pressure. He does. Bryant with nowhere to go and gets sacked. Kendall Johnson brought the pressure and brought him down. Loss of 9 on the play.
Great job of being relentless to the quarterback. Watch him right over the center. A little stunt and then beats the block of the chipping tight end. And Mike Elko is a defensive guy, been successful everywhere he's been, and good call by his understudy, Santucci.
Renner's kick takes a Northwestern bounce. Probably down at the 11-yard line. Spurrier in 1989 winning the ACC title before he went to Florida. Fred Goldsmith, Coach Cutcliffe in recent memory, and now Coach Elko with an amazing season last year and just continuing it this year, ranked 21st in the country, 2-0 with a huge win against Clemson to start the season when the fans rushed the field. They're high on their football right now.
As they should be.
Give the more. Still on his feet, bounces it outside where he's got blockers to the 20. Finally forced out of bounds at about the 26. He'll pick up a first down, 15 yards. Nice patient running that time by Jaquez Moore.
You talk about Mike Elko and just, what he's done at this program. You saw that graphic. I mean, everything happened within the past year. And I think even though there was so much success last season, coming out and making that statement against Clemson in week 1, it was still a massive upset and kind of shocked the world in terms of the college football world. And they're not showing no signs of slowing down.
Leonard brought in, that was high, but Jordan Moore stretched up to make the catch. Another 12 yards and another first down.
There you go, Jordan Moore, you mentioned this earlier, but he was a quarterback. He was competing with Riley Leonard in camp last year to be the starting quarterback for Duke. And when Riley Leonard clearly had the job, the coaching staff said, look, this guy is way too athletic. This guy is way too good of a player not to be on the field for us. And they credit his ability to just give up, maybe that dream of being a quarterback right now at least, and developing as a wide receiver. And you think about quarterbacks, they have completely different workout regimens than wide receivers do. So we had to get in that entire rhythm and had never taken a snap at receiver before last year.
Another big run on first down. 15 yards for Jaquez Moore, and Duke is on the move. The Blue Devils want to go quickly. Now into Northwestern territory. Leonard looking to throw over the middle. Has Calhoun. Still on his feet. Gets some blockers in front of him. Inside the 15, down to the 13. Jaquez Moore has been running the ball successfully on this drive, Mark. He sprung Calhoun with a big block downfield on that play.
Yeah, and they do a little spacing route, and watch him settle down right in between the two middle linebackers. Really good job of finding that spot and getting vertical as he catches the football for extra yardage.
Ooh, and there's that block by Moore. That was about 20 yards downfield as well. 30 yards on the play. Now 1st and 10 from the 12. Leonard to give the Waters. Cuts it back inside, picks up a little bit of something out of nothing. Give him about 5 yards on first down. Devin Turner made the tackle.
Great blocking out front. Watch 63 right here. Monk get up on he's pulling outside. Phenomenal. Watch him come through the hole. Boom! That's physical against the linebacker, and those are the type of blocks that we're seeing from Duke offensive line. Physical point of attack blocks, especially at the second level.
Monk from Clayton, North Carolina, one of the team captains on this team. 2nd down and 5. Leonard's going to keep it himself. To the goal line, right on the line to gain. I think they're going to mark him down inside the 1. Turner again on the tackle. They're marking him down right at the 1-yard line. It'll be a first down, so 1st and goal from the 1.
And same thing, look at the polar. Monk leading the way with the kick out block. And then number 73, Hornybrook, up through.
It's the end of the first quarter.
They may have to take a look at that one again, and they'll have plenty of time to do it as our first quarter has come to an end. Successful.
I'll tell you what, we talked with Dwayne Carter yesterday, and he talked about how much of an influence his parents have been on his life. And he also said, like tell me about yourself. He goes, I love to have fun. I know where he gets it from.
Might have a little bit more fun if they could put this in the end zone, but it's the Wildcats having fun on that play, stopping Waters for a loss on 1st and goal from the 1.
Xander Mueller, the other inside linebacker, him and Bryce Gallagher, two kind of throwback linebackers. More of that box mentality, want to run downhill. They are built for and goal, right? And goal situations are what these linebackers are built for.
235, like stamped from the mold.
Got neck rolls, which is awesome.
Waters again in the backfield, this time flanked to Leonard's right. Give to him again, this time he gets into the end zone. His second touchdown of the day.
So there it is, and you see the intensity from the offensive line. Jacob Mugg, number 63. Really this entire offensive line. Graham Barton, Mo McIntyre, Scott Elliott, who transferred in from Harvard, Jacob Monk, and Jake Hornibrook, the Stanford transfer. These guys up front, they know how to move bodies. Little help from
Hazley, the tight end. How about 85 getting in there and pushing that whole pile to the left?
When you can run the football in college football, you are so dangerous as an offense.
Polino with the try, makes it good, 14-0, Duke on top. You think about that offensive line, too, I mentioned, and you talked about the names. Mo McIntyre, graduate student. Jacob Monk, graduate student. Hornibrook, the graduate transfer from Stanford. Elliott, who's a graduate student in the business school here, who came from Harvard, he was the one, Hornibrook was the more celebrated of the transfers.
Yep.
They really didn't know what they had with Scott Elliott, but that intelligence at that center position, barking out the calls and whatnot, he's been a perfect fit in this very veteran offensive line.
Very veteran, and if you are recruiting for a job, right? You have a bunch of Duke graduates and then a Stanford graduate and a Harvard graduate. We talked with Elko, and he was like, you know, I'm doing bed checks during camp, and I walk into these rooms with probably some of the smartest people I'll ever meet in my life, where maybe sometimes you have to tell people to put away video games. These guys had their books out, studying, reading, talking about philosophy. I know that man right there appreciates his O-line.
He's got 2 touchdowns on the day, and we're still in the early going here in Durham. Azaba on the return, 20, 25. Good return for the Wildcats out beyond the 30. 26 yards on the return. Think about what this team has done. We talked about it, but it bears repeating. 9 wins last year, right? In the first year under head coach Mike Elko. This year, they open up the season. Well, certainly they've got a target on them much bigger than they had last year when no one knew anything about them. And what do? They come out and beat Clemson to start the year, ranked number 21st in the country right now. And the offense is a big, they just score points. They've been very difficult to stop. A lot of different pieces. We've talked about all these talented players at skill positions, plus a veteran offensive line, and it works perfectly for them. And this defense is kind of nasty at times, too.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest surprise this year, is how well the defense is playing, especially up front. I mean, we've already talked about Dwayne Carter and Jamion Franklin, RJ Oben, but these guys now are another year older, another year more experienced, another year in the weight room, and it's so huge keeping intact that defensive line as they get another great solid pushback. There's just no movement up front.
Being knocked down by number 36, Nick Morris.
Nick Morris on the stop.
That will bring up
Third down and about 4 yards for Northwestern to keep this drive alive. Bryant looks to the sideline for the call.
We've seen this front look from Duke before where they bring their linebackers up, mugged in the line of scrimmage. They have been dropping out. Let's see if they do bring pressure.
They do, but it's picked up. Pass complete and then fumble. That was going to be ruled an incompletion. Looked like he hit A.J. Henning over the middle, and that was going to be a first down, but Brandon Johnson, B.J. with a big hit to dislodge the ball, and the call was incomplete.
Brandon Johnson has been such a great player for Duke defensively this year. He flies around. He's a really good cover guy. He's a leader of that secondary, and he just consistently is around the football making plays. Plays similar to that where big hits cause pass disruptions and or fumbles.
Henning never really quite had it. 4th punt on 4 drives today for Northwestern. This one is going to bounce out of bounds. They'll mark it right about the 26, right at the 27. Duke once again back on offense when we come back. Number one of them. One part is rounding out the 2. Out to Moore. Picks up about 4 on 1st down.
Notre Dame would be a guess. Play a lot.
I think it's going to be a school that you and I have no idea who it is. Duke fans would know. Calhoun. 1st down and more. 14 yards. Man, Leonard, you mentioned he was 12 for 12 last week. He is in some kind of a rhythm right now.
I mean, and not only was he 12 for 12, right? But we mentioned the backup quarterback.
Yeah, Beelan.
He was 8 for 8. I mean, it was a perfect passing game for this Duke offense. And I think, we talk about the running game and the offensive line development. Right now, Riley Leonard, he's only thrown 8 passes, right? He's completed 7 of them, but he doesn't have to rely on his arm with the way this offensive line and this run game is performing.
More in motion, Leonard to throw. Now pressure off the edge, steps up, avoids it, and gets something out of nothing. Gets a lot of yardage. Still on his feet. Inside the 30, stiff arms the defender and out of bounds into 23, much to the delight of the fans here at attendance at Wallace Wade.
And I love, he gets that stiff arm in at the end, and some quarterbacks, they might turn their back to the defender. No, he stepped right back up, says, you want some more of this? This is a dead to rights hit on the quarterback. And Riley Leonard, you don't see the hard juke moves. He's just so strong and powerful. And right here, look, ready? Push off, step back up. Well, you want some more of that? Man, so dangerous and does it so smoothly where he doesn't look like he's running that fast, but he's breaking away from people. I knew he would.
Flag down on the play.
Before the ball was snapped, timeout, Duke, their first of the half.
Elko having a friendly chat with one of the officials, was able to call timeout before the flag came in. Probably we're going to have a substitution violation would be my guess. The timeout wipes it out though. Coach Elko will talk things over with his offense. 14-0, Duke on top. Going over 1,000 career rushing yards on that last run. You can see he's found the end zone 16 times already. Might have only been the only quarterback, actually, one of the few quarterbacks in college football last year that had over 10 rushing and passing touchdowns. Here's the stiff arm at the end. Sloughed the defender off.
I love watching the bench behind him getting fired up. That's my quarterback.
That's after breaking 2 or 3 tackles on that run.
Stumbling, rumbling, bumbling down the field, right?
You don't think that when you think quarterback, but in many respects, that's the way Riley Leonard runs. Fresh set of downs, out of the timeout. Quick pitch to Moore. He's able to avoid 1 tackle, but then the pursuit got the better of him. Bryce Gallagher ends up bringing him down.
Yeah, really good job setting the edge of the defense by Northwestern, and they need to stop here. They need to limit this bleeding. See number 34. A really good job on the edge. That's Xander Mueller. And a good pursuit from inside out. And they need more plays like that to try to get back in this game. The score differential's not that bad, but the momentum's all on Duke's side.
2nd down and 9. Give to Moore. Again, defended very well by Northwestern. Dropped for a 1-yard loss. Gallagher and Mueller again.
These guys, they know where to fit. Tough up front. Good job coming downhill. Watch the offensive line. I mean, just watch them throw their bodies at people. I mean, they're just trying to mush dudes. Good job of sifting their way through there by the 2 middle linebackers.
3rd TFL on the day for this Northwestern defense. Now, to your point, Mark, this is a huge third down for them to get the defense off the field, force a field goal try. Leonard to throw. Northwestern brings just forward. Leonard will run. Couldn't quite get out of that last tackle attempt. And Carmine Bostone brought him down just before he was able to get into open territory. It'll bring up fourth down.
Yeah, and Leonard had open receivers. Watch this area of the screen as the wide receivers develop in their routes. There's a void, and if he gives it a little more time, he has two receivers. Samir Hagan's number 2, wide open in that corner of the end zone.
Todd Polino will come in to try a 34-yard attempt. And he puts it through. Polino extends the advantage, but Coach Braun happy with his defense that they were able to make a stand there at the end and limit the damage to just 3.
Yeah, and especially after a quarterback run, right? That can be demoralizing for a defense. To be able to step back up and hold the team to 3 points. And 17 points. I had a defensive coordinator when I was at Boston College. He always would tell us, hey, 17 points is the most dangerous lead to have. Because you can feel like, hey, we are in control of this game, but one touchdown, and all of a sudden, hey, it's a 10-point game. They're right back in it. And so our coach would always tell us, hey, this is the time to put the pedal to the metal, and Duke needs to do that to continue this lead. And Northwestern, huge opportunity here to move the ball down the field, as they've done at times in this game, to try to get points on the board.
Degansky will kick off. And Azama, number 0, there to return it. Azama from his 5. His speed on the return gets it out to the 27, 21 yards, 22 on the return. Our athletic trivia question: 10 seasons, Duke. They're 18-2 in those last 10 seasons versus non-conference opponents. Who are the 2 schools to defeat them at home during these last 10 years? Yeah, Northwestern was one of them. I figured it had to do with Northwestern. And then Notre Dame back in 2019.
Yep. And in 2020, Notre Dame was a part of that ACC during that COVID year, right? So for football, Notre Dame, although they're an ACC school for a lot of sports, not football.
Right. And of course, they've got a deal where they'll play 4 ACC schools every year on the schedule.
Timeout, Northwestern.
Northwestern calling a timeout. Coming out of the return. Coach Braun and his staff didn't like what they saw. They'll talk it over. Down 17 here in this.
Player in this game that gives back to their community more than just on the football field, and Jamion Franklin is that guy. At Duke, he has been Mr. Everything in the community. Volunteers weekly at a local shelter. Durham Rescue Mission and Urban Ministries of Durham sorts out food, distributes it to people in need and families that are looking for housing. And you know, he talks about his childhood and growing up, and they lived in Section 8 housing to avoid homelessness for a lot of his childhood. And he wanted to give back to different things in this community that were like the ones that helped him out. You know, he's a phenomenal person. And not only has he given back in the community, he's given back to his family. His father, James, who was diagnosed with cancer, he did a bone marrow transplant from Jamion to his father, helped save his life. Just an impressive young man, and one that has an attitude of service above himself. So, Jamion Franklin, continue to do what you are doing. You are my Herzlick Heroes Player of the Week. Just a phenomenal young man.
It really is. Involved in the first tackle on this drive. As you see, he's coming off now. Third down, defensive package put in the game.
You know, one thing he talks about too, you know, a lot of negative around the NIL, right, in terms of players making money, but he talked about being homeless growing up and having to rely on these different organizations. And now with the NIL money, it's not like he's going out and buying cars and chains. I mean, he's giving back to his family and allowing his family to have some resources.
Northwestern converting on third down for just the second time today. 9 yards on the reception by Cam Johnson. When you move the chains, you get an opportunity to go quickly.
Yeah, you do.
Kurtz has got to come back and line up. There you see him, 17 at the bottom of your screen. Bryant wants to move to give to Porter. Porter just runs hard, doesn't he? Mausi on the tackle, but you can just see number 4. Sometimes they call it running angry.
Now's the time. Now's the time to run angry. Get yourself back on the scoreboard, or on the scoreboard for the first time in this game. And remember, 38 unanswered points in last week's game. They haven't been able to make their way down there yet.
Porter wasn't able to pick up the first down. It'll bring up 3rd and 2. RJ Oben on the stop. Mausi in on it as well. Here's a good look at Mausi.
This Duke defense, right? Watching them play last year into this year, there's a violence about them this year. They're tackling to the ground. They're finishing plays. They're having multiple players on every hit. And it's an attitude thing. And they are geared up to lay a hurting on their opponents.
Bryant under center. Give on the end around. Henning trying to find room. Finds maybe just enough for the first down and does. Had to run a long way to pick up 4, but they'll move the sticks.
Good individual effort by A.J. Henning. Able to avoid R.J. Oben. And just a really good job of fighting for those extra yardage. A lot of hopes for him transferring in from Michigan. Had a big game last week with a touchdown.
Northwestern once again works their way inside of Duke territory. This is the part of the field where they've stalled out every time. Lang, the tight end, give him about 8 or 9. Mausi and Hall on the tackle. But I think probably for the first time all game, Bryant appears to have gotten into a little bit of a rhythm here, mixing the run and the pass.
Yeah, I like the play calling. More shorter routes, more intermediate underneath routes, allow him to build his confidence. We saw those vertical stretching passes earlier in the game where he was inaccurate on.
Hyman on the carry. Just tries to bang it in there. And I think it might be just enough for the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Trey Freeman on the tackle, and I think they'll move the chains, and they will.
For Northwestern, it's just one play at a time. You have a little under 5 minutes on the clock in this half. You want to at least get 3 points here, put it within 2 score.
And they've got Jack Lausch. It's more of the running quarterback in now. He's going to do just that. He just tucks it, tries to get what he can, spins back the other way. He's able to pick up 5 yards. What do you got, Sherry?
Well, Northwestern offensive coordinator Mike Bajakian said he was influenced by now Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken on the balance of the offense. And it's not necessarily between run and pass, but balancing the ball between all the different playmakers. He feels like they did that in their win against UTEP last week. But talking about the evolution of that offense, we saw that week 1, week 2, and trying to do here now in week 3, guys.
Lausch hands it off in the middle, and Hyman lowers his head. Hyman's 5'9", listed at 185 pounds. He's not afraid to lower the shoulder pads and take on a little contact.
No, he's not. And you know, it's interesting having a defensive head coach and an offensive coordinator, right? David Braun talked about how he went to Mike Bajakian and was like, hey, we got to get some guys on the field that causes problems in practice. There were 2 guys he mentioned, Jack Lausch, right? And Joseph Hyman. And Hyman's speed is something that has really given the Northwestern defense problems in the past. And you've seen that influence from Braun in this series with more Jack Lausch and more Joseph Hyman.
11th play on this drive, Mark. And you see the clock ticking down to 3 minutes left to play in the first half. It's a big drive for Northwestern to finish with, I think, a touchdown, not just points.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you want to feel like you're in field goal range now, and so you don't want to lose yardage.
That's what happens.
And go backwards.
Porter did his best to spin out of it, but he'll lose 2 on the play as Duke just gang tackled him.
Yeah, it's not easy against this Duke defense. I mean, we talked about it time and time again, but you see the defensive front. I mean, that time it was Aeneas Peebles, number 16, just with a good inside rip, against the run game, getting some penetration in the backfield. And it's just right down the list of defensive tackles. And they're all getting it done, and it forces the ball to bubble outside. We've seen that constantly in this game.
3rd and 7. Bryant to throw. Duke with pressure up the middle. As a receiver, it's picked up by Kurtz. And he's going to get the first down.
Really good job of holding in the pocket by Ben Bryant and giving time for this route to develop as Duke brought pressure. And you see it's good coverage on the outside by Chandler Rivers, just better effort by Kurtz getting back to the football. That was a huge, huge play in this game.
Again, Lausch in a quarterback. They'll put Bryant at the top of your screen.
Yeah, unbalanced set. Everyone's over to the right. And shift back over. He can throw the ball, even though we've seen him run. He can throw.
Bryant in motion. He's going to run it to the right side. Has a blocker in front, the tight end. And a beautiful defensive job to fight off the block by Jalon Stinson, the veteran.
That might be one of the best defensive plays that I've seen all year. You get a lead blocker coming at you with a quarterback right in tow, and watch number 2. Inside out, and really the play was made by Chandler Rivers, setting the edge and just slicing through that lead blocker and finding a way to come out on the other side. He was dumped. DDT action by Stinson.
Stinson and Lang having words after the play. 2nd down and 10. With all the Blue Devils on the line of scrimmage, and they're coming. Bryant throws to the end zone, has a wide open receiver, and it's caught for the score. A.J. Henning brings it in, 14 yards, and Northwestern's on the board.
It'll be interesting to see how he's that wide open. They did bring a corner pressure, it looked like, and great job of recognizing it and getting the ball out to his wide receiver. And you see they call it a scissor route as they release, and the inside guy runs the corner, the outside guy runs the post. Really well thrown ball. Let's see if he completes this catch. He does, going to the ground.
15 plays, 8 minutes and 26 seconds. And a little bit of momentum taken back for Northwestern before the end of this first half. Olsen with the PAT. Northwestern's on the board back in this game, trailing by 10. It's almost, and 73 yards. And you think about it, Bryant comes into that game, into that drive rather, he's 2 for 7 on the game. He was 5 for 5 for 45 yards, including the touchdown.
Yeah, and that's huge, right? To do that before half. And you talked about the last drive, right? 3 is a minimum. You get 7 points, and okay, we're within striking distance. You know, we get 1 stop and 1 score, and in this game, that's right where they want to be.
Let's take another look at that touchdown, Mark.
Yeah, and they sent a pressure. They sent the DB pressure off the edge, and it was just a little scissors route where the inside guy goes out and the outside guy comes in, and the defenders need to be on 2 different levels. You see right there, as they back up, there's just a miscommunication between Al Blades Jr. and Jalon Stinson, and they bump into each other. And that's what allowed A.J. Henning to get so wide open, and really good job recognizing it by Ben Bryant that, hey, we have man coverage on the outside. If one of these guys comes open, I need to get it out fast because they're sending pressure.
Now with 34 seconds and the ball on the 26, let's see what Duke decides to do. Leonard will look to throw. Sidearms it over the middle and has a receiver. That's Calhoun to midfield.
Riley Leonard on the sidearm sweep.
Got 2 timeouts on the board.
Yard line, first down.
Clock is restarted. Empty backfield, Leonard will again look to throw. Tried to find Calhoun, but he was covered. Throws it away.
Yeah, it looks like Calhoun might have run the wrong route. A couple guys over the ball. Good job by Leonard throwing it away right when he realized the play was broken down to save clock.
Polino's range is right about 50 yards. So they're about 20 yards away from giving him a shot. Remember, Duke will receive the second half kick. So That momentum goes back over to them if they're able to even get 3 points here in the next 16 seconds. But got to pick up something here. Got 2 timeouts on the board so they can stop the clock, but pressure comes around the edge, and Leonard's going to be brought down. And Tosaka got there. And that's going to force Duke to not call one of their remaining timeouts. And now the whistle blows. I thought for sure.
Duke, their second of the half.
I thought we would get one there, Mark, but maybe they're just now looking to do a Hail Mary here at the end.
And Tosaka, you see him towards the top of the screen. I mean, he's just working one-on-one with Graham Barton, the first-team preseason Walter Camp All-American, and this true sophomore just blows right past Barton. He was one of the players that David Braun singled out. He said, this guy can change the map. He can be a guy that can't be accounted for, but he's only a true sophomore. And so didn't know if it would happen this quickly. Had his first career sack last week. This one, I mean, was phenomenal and timely, and that's going to build on that player's confidence.
With 3 seconds left to go in the half, Leonard is staying on the sideline. Henry Beelan is now in a quarterback. And Northwestern's got 3 guys back at the 5.
And Beelan does have a stronger arm than Riley Leonard, is what coaches told us. Look for that big, big Hail Mary here.
Pressure up the middle. He's not even going to get an opportunity. Xander Mueller was there, now joined by a host of his teammates to put an end to that threat. And we've reached the half.
First half.
And they have showed their dominance on the ground in the first half.
And it's a Northwestern team we mentioned, got that touchdown late in the first half, knowing that Duke was going to get the ball to start this second. So needed to get a little bit of momentum. Moore on the return. Terry Moore brings it down to the 20 before he's wrapped up. Sherry Burris is the 3rd member of our crew. She's standing by on the field. What's going on, Sherry?
Coach Braun telling me he liked the way they scored that touchdown late to end the first half. That was huge to get the momentum back on their side and get back into this game. Also really liking the way his defense is playing there, particularly down the stretch. We saw 2 sacks, one of them the first on Riley Leonard this season. We talk about the mental part of this game. Coach says that he wants to focus on the second half, that he likes the way they play in the second. So he just wants his guys to keep bringing the energy, and he tells me he has unwavering belief they will find a way to win this game, Chris.
Yeah, Sherry, that's a good point. First time Leonard's been sacked all year in that first half by Northwestern, so being able to do some things defensively to keep them in the game. And quick pitch and catch for 5 yards on first down. You know, it's interesting we talk about the running game too, Mark. You think about the first couple of drives for Duke in this game, they were really passing the ball. It was rhythm passing down the field, and then they were hitting them with big runs. Yeah,
they were, and I think Riley Leonard, that's the way this offense feels comfortable. If you can run the ball, either with Riley Leonard's legs or with their running backs, you can set up more of the play action. They just haven't had to go to that play action yet because they continuously are gaining 3-4 yards on first and second down. So third down presents an opportunity to either keep it an RPO in the quarterback's hands or a short intermediate pass.
Well, this is a 3rd down and 1, so opportunity for both teams, for Duke to keep the drive alive to start this second half, and for Northwestern to get off the field on a 3 and out. Waters in the backfield. Leonard is going to throw. Quick out. Pass caught. First down. Jordan Moore showing those hands again, just going up and snagging it.
Very similar pass in the first quarter on the first drive. Riley Leonard's first pass of the game that went high. This one, really good throw and good job of pulling it in quickly by Jordan Moore, understanding where the line to gain was.
Calhoun in motion at the bottom of your screen. Leonard will throw again, this time pressure up the middle. He sidesteps, stays on his feet, picks up 7 yards. Should have been dropped for a loss. Garnet Hollis eventually brought him down, but another brilliant play by Riley Leonard.
I mean, how about this footwork? Right, we talked about a basketball player, a little Euro step on the blitzing linebacker. Yep, just makes a miss, and then not only does he make a miss, but he picks up positive yardage, right? That's the thing that separates Riley Leonard. Okay, I can have that pocket presence, but you see the extended effort by the offensive line, and that, I mean, that's what's making Duke very effective in this game.
Leonard again to throw. Northwestern brings just 4, so he has time. Now the pocket collapses, but over the middle finds a tight end. Down inside the 40. That was Dalmelin. You've seen Dalmelin make a couple of big blocks in this game. Now he makes a big catch and a flag late. First flag we've had all game long. It has been a very cleanly played football game so far, but our first opportunity here from referee Mark Klaczynski.
There are 2 fouls after the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 1. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 2. The penalty is offset. The result of the play is a first down. That's their first unsportsmanlike of the game.
John Tavis Robertson hearing it from Coach Elko. Garnet Hollis on the other side, both guilty of the infractions. They'll offset.
I like Elko's demeanor, right? Calling his player over, trying to find out what actually happened before he lays into him. Sometimes coaches get so worked up over the flag, they start yelling before they even know what happens.
The end result is a first down. Duke on the move here to start the second half. Leonard again to throw. Again, Northwestern brings 4, so he has time. And he has a receiver out of the backfield. It's Waters. Tough to bring down, give him 10 yards.
This is an overlooked quality of Riley Leonard. It's the ability to make the correct decision to check the football down. And I've seen it constantly through the last half of last year, and then especially this year, when the play breaks down the field. Where's my outlet throw? Where's my running back in the flat? Where's my tight end over the middle? And it turns plays that would be no gain into 2 or 3 yard gains, that time picking up a first down.
It's 4 for 4 on this drive for 39 yards. He's 22 for 24 in his last 2 games. Waters on the carry, give him 2 yards. Jaquez Moore now in the game at tailback. He's been a steady dose of both Waters and Moore running the football, complemented by Riley Leonard out of the backfield.
Northwestern gets an opportunity to sub in a whole new defensive line, trying to keep them fresh, and they want to rotate a lot of guys in that D line.
Fake to Moore. Has a receiver underneath. That's the other Moore. Beautiful job on the screen, and Moore takes it inside the 5.
That play was made by center Scott Elliott. Anytime you get these quick screens out to the wide receivers, it's which offensive lineman can move fastest. You see number 70 just hauling to get out there and just get a little bit of a piece on the defender, and that sprung loose the wide receiver Moore, and just that little presence on the inside allows him to miss the tackle.
I love Jacob Monk picking him up and putting him down, too.
I'll tell you what, Jacob Monk might be my new favorite player in all of college football.
Leonard scores.
That guy's pretty darn good too, but Jacob Monk, I mean, you just mentioned every single play, it's like you're throwing a guy around after the play, downfield, you open up blocks right there for his quarterback, but there is a nastiness about this man, number 63. I could bet you money that he's the nicest dude in the world off the field, but number 63, he is scrappy out in the field, on the Remington watch list. He's going to be a player.
Polino for the try, and it's good. Duke takes that momentum, the Northwestern build with that late score in the first half, and turns it right around. They take the opening kickoff in the second and move all the way down the field. Finished off by Gansky's kick. He's going to drive Coco into the end zone. He'll make the catch for the touchback. Last drive, first drive of the second half for Duke, ends up in the end zone. Yeah,
and it's all Riley Leonard, and we've seen him do it with his legs and his arm on this last drive, and it just reminds me of a message that his mom sends to him before every game of "You suck." He did not suck on this drive, that's for sure. And for those of you who haven't heard the story, Riley Leonard, he wants to get some motivation from criticism, and he hasn't gotten a lot of criticism lately. And so his mom said, "Hey, you know what? As your biggest supporter, I'll step up and I'll text you, 'You suck,' before every game." And my wife has gotten into that habit as well, reminding me that I suck. And he has a wristband that says "You suck," just in case he forgets it. There's his mom right on his wrist, reminding him that he doesn't suck. No, he does not. Look at that right there. 13 of 15. He's only had 2 incompletions this game and last game combined.
Yeah, his last 6+ quarters of work have been pretty darn good, pretty efficient. Now it's up to Northwestern again. They had a nice drive at the end of the first half, and Porter wants to give him a nice drive here. Stays on his feet to midfield. Did I mention this guy runs angry all the way to the 50? 25 yards, busting through tackles.
Well, there you go. And you mentioned his size. 220 pounds. And when he gets behind his pads like that, I mean, he's hard to bring down. And that's Jeremiah Lewis. He's a hard-hitting safety. You just couldn't bring him down.
That play was blown up from the start. Fantastic job defensively by B.J. Johnson.
I mean, this is, as far as the ACC, I mean, this is the no-name defense, right? Going into this season, you probably haven't heard a lot of these guys' names. But they play so well together. They fly around as a pack, and you will know these guys' names by the end of this season. The way Brandon Johnson and Jeremiah Lewis and Jalen Stinson are playing in this secondary, not to mention Al Blades on the outside, Miles Jones, Chandler Rivers. I mean, they have some depth in the secondary.
Play action, nobody's open. Bryant flush from the pocket. Porter underneath he has. Instead, he throws dangerously downfield. Kurtz was out of bounds, whether he would have made the catch or not. Chandler Rivers had him in his sights.
And all 3 of those safeties we mentioned just converged on the receiver at the same time. Look at Kurtz just standing there like, I'm about to get hit.
Hurry up, wants the ball to come down.
3rd and 12. Duke brought in their rush package up front. Wesley Williams, 97, Aeneas Peoples in the game.
They bring 4. It's picked up initially. Downfield, looking for heading. It's incomplete. Chandler Rivers defending on the play.
And Brandon Johnson from the safety position, amazing pressure on the quarterback. And a lot of things affect the throw and incompletions and plays downfield. And Brandon Johnson, that pressure affected that play. It made it easy for Chandler Rivers on the back end. Good job in his zone. Really should have been picked. And right here, here's the pressure after the punt. We'll get a look at it.
Renner's kick. Take it inside the 10. 46 yards on the punt. Nothing on the return from Calhoun. Duke with the ball and up 17. ESPN has supported the College Football Playoff Foundation, bringing the college football community together during the Extra Yard for Teachers Week to celebrate and honor great teachers. Since its inception, the CFP Foundation has recognized over 500,000 educators. For more, follow CFP Extra Yard as Leonard again pads that rushing total and total yard total on the year, getting his team out from under the shadow of his own goalpost and picking up 1st down.
Yeah, so, you know, he's on the field right after you just beat Clemson, coming out for the post-game interview. And what's on his mind? His 3.9 GPA. Hey, we can't let this slide at all.
3.8. Imagine the inhumanity of it all.
It's a borderline eligible. Kidding.
More. The way the clock runs in these games this year in college football with the new rules.
Yep.
I mean, if they run the football like they did in the first half and just keep going, we might have a faster second half than we did first half. That just flew by with the success they had running the ball. We're already nearing the midway point of this 3rd quarter.
The sample size is small, right, of games and weeks, right? But it already looks like there's about an average of like 6 plays per game that are taken off. Not necessarily enough to affect the outcome of games, but definitely shortens the length.
Yeah, I think about 6 plays. Defended nicely that time by Rod Hurd. 6 plays, about 8 minutes in average length, and I think that's what the officials were hoping for. It's right kind of in the wheelhouse.
Yeah. You know, we've called some games that have gone way longer just because they've been more passing teams. Every team has their own style with clock, but I think that it'll kind of change the idea and the momentum that different head coaches have around play calling and clock management. Talk about Elko, he's on top of all that.
Yeah, it's essentially the game clock isn't stopping on every first down, only inside of 2 minutes at the end of each half. That's the big difference. Pressure up the middle. Leonard gets the pass off. He's got Calhoun.
Wow, no way! Wow, what a catch! Riley Leonard, with a man draped around his legs, just launched that one up, and extending was Calhoun. That was the thing of beauty.
Leonard wants to go quickly, has all kinds of time. Now the pocket collapses, and he escapes once again. He'll just throw this one away, but avoids a big loss.
Riley Leonard will throw the football out of bounds. He was pressured by
Jalon Calhoun.
No foul for intentional grounding. The passer was outside the pocket. The pass crossed the line of scrimmage. Second down.
Riley Leonard, seeing the vacated zone of the defense, knew that his man had leverage and hung in the pocket while taking a hit and delivered it to the most reliable target out there, fifth-year senior Jalon Calhoun.
5 catches for 112 so far for Calhoun. Leonard will look to reload on second down. Finds a receiver. No problem for Jordan Moore. Northwestern's bringing just 4 mark, and Leonard is just sitting back there with all kinds of time and picking them apart.
Well, that's because when they do bring extra guys, he makes plays like he just made downfield, and it's kind of like, you know, from a defensive coordinator standpoint, it's, you know, what do we do, right? Sitting back and preventing big plays, okay, but we need to get back in this game. We need to make a difference play on defense, and so you kind of have to take some risks. I mean, you do, and you got to send some pressure at times.
Another first down for Duke. Watch out here, Moore inside the 20. Another 19 yards on the ground as this Duke rushing machine is getting closer to 200 yards rushing on the game.
70 and 73, pulling up through the hole and just not even touched until 10 yards down the field.
What's going on, Sherry?
Well, guys, we know that this running back unit for Duke is deep, and we see Jordan Waters. He's been a threat, and he says that this is a stable of backs because there are so many guys, and they don't let up when the next guy's in. Probably add Leonard into that stable also.
No question about it. How about a receiver open in the corner? Coming back was De'Aaron Johnson defending on the play as Moore looked like he had a real shot at it.
Yeah, and just unable to bring it ball in. Remember, Jordan Moore, former quarterback, usually he will catch those footballs. And Johnson has to be careful at the end of this one. Give him a little finger wag.
Yeah, that was more that Jordan Moore dropped it.
Yep. Sun is actually a problem in that corner of the end zone as well.
Second down and 10. They'll move Waters in motion. Leonard will run. Down to the 10, down to the 7-yard line before Koko Azama brings him down. 12 more yards on the ground. Leonard's getting close to a 200 passing, 100 rushing day.
Yeah. It's like a double-double for him on the basketball court, but you understand where you are in this game right now, and you're watching your franchise, right, quarterback take some hits. It's not something that they want to see. Kevin Johns does not like to see his quarterback hit, but Riley Leonard said, hey, look, I motivate my team when I get hit and get those tough yards.
They give the Waters. Trying to find his way, takes a shot inside the 5. Down at the 3. Well, if you're Mike Elko and offensive coordinator Kevin Johns, this drive is a thing of beauty.
Oh,
Clock
yeah.
winding down. You're already up 17. You're looking to put this thing away and get the clock close to that start of the fourth quarter, and they've done everything perfectly on this drive. Give to Moore. He's not going to go very far. Maybe picked up a yard. P.J. Spencer, along with Kenny Soares, rather. There's a good look at Kenny.
And Kenny Soares, their Sam linebacker. He's been on a couple of these goal line run stop plays. Or a run stopping linebacker for them.
12th play of this Duke drive started on their own 6.
A lot of space towards the top of the screen.
Leonard can run or pass. He runs and scores.
That's so hard to defend. 6'5", 220-pound quarterback on the edge of the defense. Run pass option. It's difficult to be right in that situation. Good job by Kevin Johns putting the defense in a bind.
Polina with the PAT. He's perfect on the day with the tries. 31-7. Riley Leonard. We mentioned he's getting close to that 200-100 mark. This is touchdown number 2 on the ground. It's all Blue Devils late in the going here in the third quarter. 31-7 our score.
You see that calmness, right? He's just sitting there, back to the field, talking to his quarterbacks and the offense, and his teammates are like, look, he is the most cool guy, like just like chill and calm, and conducts himself with poise, and that's good. You want that from your quarterback.
Ozama staying on his feet, getting it out to the 29.
A.J. Hennig will bring it out.
Hey, Tuesday night, catch the debut of We're Number One, the story of 1999 Florida State football. Documentary details Bobby Bowden and his Seminoles' perfect season. More than 20 team members, opposing players, and coaches interviewed for this amazing documentary. The 1-hour special premieres 7 Eastern right here on the ACC network and on the ESPN app.
I love those.
Great.
I've realized, even over the past like 4 or 5 years, I've gotten so much more into like these documentaries, history of football. Just really cool. I mean, that one I'm super excited to watch.
We got one on Clemson's #1 run back in 1981, and Georgia Tech and Virginia back in 1990. This one I'm sure is going to be amazing. Catch by Cam Johnson. A nice pass from Ben Bryant. That'll move the sticks. Bryant all kinds of time. Can't find a receiver. Now underneath to Porter. This is about 2 on first down. Terry Moore on the tackle. Cam Porter, senior, out of Cincinnati. Bryant trying to go up top to Johnson. Outstanding coverage by Al Blades. Now we get a flag before the point where the ball came down, so it may be a defensive hold rather than a PI. Let's check it though first. Might be neither of them.
There is no foul for pass interference on the play. 3rd down.
Officials got together, decided to pick up the flag. So nice job defending on the play by Al Blades Jr.
Yeah, and ACC fans recognize obviously the name. Spent 4 years at Miami before transferring here, and they have loved having him as a part of this team, a part of this secondary. Really, really just great family history of football. And he brings that here to Duke.
3rd down and 8. Duke showing pressure. And they come with it up the middle. Picked up initially on the edge. There's pressure on Bryant. He has one-on-one coverage. And he couldn't get it into Kurtz. Miles Jones again on the coverage.
Miles Jones, he is a problem.
We have a late flag, very late after the play, right at the point.
Not that type of problem I wasn't talking about. His coverage ability is phenomenal. And, you know,
yeah, it's a problem if you extend the drive after a 3rd down stop.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 7, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down. That's number 7's first unsportsmanlike of the game.
That's going to go against Blades. Now, Coach Elko wants an explanation. Probably more from his player than from the officials.
Ooh, that, you know, I mean, gosh.
You don't
know what?
You don't know what's said.
No, but come on.
Bryant's pass gets knocked down.
I mean, like, to have it, it must have been terrible. It must have been like one of the worst things you heard, right? Like, there's trash talking in sports. Like, that just blows my mind, right? Like, you know, again, and I don't know what was said, but
might have been the worst thing you ever heard.
And then if it was, then good. Then call the flag on him. But like, to me, that was on Bryce Kurtz. So you can't, if you get, you know, trash talk to, you can't throw an elbow at someone.
In the general course of trash talking, it's usually not so bad, right? That would warrant the flag.
Oh.
His family members were discussed. That one almost intercepted by Dwayne Carter.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. Anytime you bring family members into it,
right? You never know.
That's flaggable.
Speaking of family members, there's his dad. He thought his son was gone for 6. Now I'm not gonna assume that if Carter brought this in, he would have taken it all the way home, but he certainly would have had a chance.
I assume.
You think he would have scored?
I think and if he didn't score, I believe Dwayne Carter Sr. would have probably ran through the stands,
wanting him to pitch the ball to him because he was going to take it in.
He looked like the strength coach on the sideline that sprints next to the player on a breakaway.
3rd down. Defended very well by Chandler Rivers. We mentioned his name a lot today, 0 and blue.
Yeah, we have, and you know, just a steady, solid player and a young player, right? Only a true sophomore, and I mean, that's a guy who will have many more years in this program. And I mean, this season he has been a lockdown guy, and that is very apparent today as well. They have a lot of things to build on going forward. Obviously, you don't look past this season. They could win the ACC for all we know, but their future is bright at Duke.
4th down and 8. Northwestern staying on the field with the offense. Bryant's pass, beautiful catch. He's right at the yard marker too. It would be a shame if Cam Johnson's catch didn't move the sticks. He's right at the line of gain, and they're going to make it a 1st down.
This effort by Cam Johnson coming back to the football, it's just phenomenal. And laying out for the pass.
Bryant here, nice pass again. Before he even came out of his cut, Kurtz was there on the receiving end. And we do have a flag down right in that general area, so let's check the marker first.
Illegal substitution. Defense, more than 11 on the field at the snap. The penalties decline. The result of the play is a 1st down.
And yet Northwestern was still able to complete the pass and move the chains. Elko not happy with that.
Yeah.
It's a little disorganization from his defense, but a beautiful pass from Bryant. As he hit Kurtz before that ball was out of his hands well before Kurtz even came out of that cut.
And really, you know, when we've seen Ben Bryant be accurate, it's been those situations where he hits that back foot and lets it release. Good completion.
Bryant with pressure up the middle. Good screen setup. Porter can't get free though. Mausi on the tackle after a gain of just 2. Clock winding down here in this 3rd quarter.
Great play by Mausi. reading the screen and going and chasing it down.
It's the end of the third quarter.
We head to the fourth quarter in Durham. All Duke, but Northwestern driving. For 48 on the drive. Second down, they can get a first down before getting into the end zone. Bryant, though, wanted to go for it all here and overshoots his intended receiver. Again, Rivers on the coverage.
Yeah, Coach talked about the fast start. Really, that's been kind of their issue in the first couple games, not starting as fast. They did start fast, but they have been solid in the second half of games, giving up 0 points so far in the second half. So their defense has stood tall. This is an opportunity right here on third down to continue that.
Duke brings just 4. Try to hit Hyman out of the backfield. Might have had something there, and Bryant is kicking himself as he threw it behind his running back. And Bryant isn't thinking of leaving the field right now on 4th down.
And that stat right there, you know, when you think about it, they played Duke, they played Clemson week 1, and Clemson, they couldn't get in the end zone, right? They couldn't even kick a field goal.
Bryant to throw, pump fake, trying to hit Kurtz in the corner, incomplete. Jalon Stinson on coverage.
I mean, that was just a great series of downs by this Duke defense. And it's so easy to not look back for the football. It's so easy to hold on to the jersey in that situation. Jalon Stinson with perfect technique. Only contact with the receiver was just a little feeler to know where he was. Got his head back. Really, really good play all around by Duke on defense in that goal line stand.
Bryant dejected after not being able to put that one in the end zone. Duke back out on offense from their own 10. They give the Waters. Bounces it outside. Carries a defender. 13 yards. Move the chains.
And you got to expect at some point we're going to see Henry Beelan, the 4th, the backup quarterback, come in if this lead increases or if the clock gets down a little bit lower.
That run moves the Blue Devils above and beyond 200 yards rushing for the game.
Right now it's that man, Mr. Duke.
Calhoun in motion. Give the Waters. Spins forward. Wrapped up. Bryce Gallagher leading the charge for Northwestern. Give him 3 yards. PJ Spencer clogging up the middle of that scrum between the offense and defense.
Duke rotating some of their offensive linemen in there. Now Brian Parker.
Get to see Peyton Jones as well, 21 in blue. Get some work at that tailback spot. Leonard will give it to Jones. Great blocking on the point of attack, but even better play by that defensive front. Mac Uline on the tackle. I think Spencer was involved again. Good to see Coach Braun and this Northwestern defense playing strong. Don't give up in this crew. And you look at their schedule coming up too when they get into Big Ten play, which will start next week in earnest. They've got Minnesota and 7th-ranked Penn State to start Big Ten play. 3rd down and 6. All kinds of whistles and
timeout. Duke, their first of the half.
Looked like some confusion on the offensive end for the Blue Devils. Coach Elko wants to call a timeout, talk things over on 3rd down. 31-7, Duke on top in the 4th.
man, they are proud of their son. He has a bright future in the NFL.
And center Scott Elliott waving the touchdown towel as Duke tries to convert on 3rd down to keep this drive alive. They will not, and they'll be forced to punch. Jerry, what's going on with that touchdown towel?
It's a creative new thing. It's a touchdown towel and also a turnover towel. But you see it here, it's for the guy who scores. But obviously this Duke offense showing the same love you guys are to their offensive linemen, that Scott Elliott got to do the little twirl, and then you're supposed to slam it down, most importantly, at the end, guys.
Yeah, you see Riley Leonard giving it to his offensive lineman. There's Mo McIntyre, big 71. They have paved the way for this Duke offense, and they have been impressive. First punt of the day for Duke, and another
timeout. Duke, their second of the half.
Well, I guess if you're not punting very often, maybe you gotta work on some of the kinks, which they will do during the break. We'll be right back. Big, the Blue Devils.
Fast.
Oh yeah, you think they have not started fast in either of the last 2 games, so. I think so. I think there'll be a little bit of a purpose with them.
I think so. You know, they need, I think internally they need to prove what they're capable of.
So Porter Wilson on to punt for Duke. First punt of the day for the Blue Devils. A.J. Henning standing back with his heels on his own 26 for Northwestern. And Wilson with a good kick. Henning from his own 18 makes one man miss, runs into his own man, and then gets dropped at about the 14. Flag on the play, couple of them. 54-yard kick for Porter Wilson. He was well rested. Mark Klaczynski, our referee, has been a lot busier in the second half than he was in the first.
During the return, personal foul, illegal blindside block, receiving team number 10. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
De'Aaron Johnson with the blindside block. Let's see if we can see it.
Yep. Man, 10 years ago that's legal. Right, but anytime you're making that block, going back to your own goal line.
I mean, as a
guy
who played a lot of special teams in the NFL, what do you do in that situation? You can't not block a guy. Do you just get in his way and stand there and stop? Yeah, and he runs you over.
You see on Sundays, you know, it's a thing that's practiced a lot when, you know, these core special teamers, this high shield, right, where they kind of turn your back to the guy you're trying to block and just kind of stick your arms out,
let him run into you.
Right, it's just about surface area. You know, if you don't get your hand or shoulder on the guy, it's all about being between your man and the ball carrier. Maybe they'll include that in drills this week.
Bryan has had a nice combination with Bryce Kurtz on the day. Just 3 yards on that completion. Chandler Rivers was there once again on the stop. Hyman in the backfield now with Bryan. Pressure on the edge. Gets Cam Johnson. Might be just a little bit shy of the first down. Third down and 1.
Big back Cam Porter in the game.
As you get a good look at Coach Braun. They'll give it to Porter. He just drags the defender for 2 or 3. They'll move the sticks. Going back to Coach Braun. Think about his journey to be the interim head coach here. He had a lot of success as defensive coordinator at North Dakota State, right? Winning, I think he won 2 championships and played for another at the FCS level. Comes here in January at Northwestern as the defensive coordinator, and 6 months later, he's the interim head coach with a team that's in a little bit of disarray. And you know, talking to him this week, I thought it was interesting. He said, look, North Dakota State, that program got to the point where they did, where it was how they handled when things weren't going well.
Yeah.
And they were always upbeat and positive and thinking about making the next play. It's all right, we're going to make the next play. We're going to win the next quarter. And I feel like in our conversation with him, he said, that's what I have to instill in this team.
Yeah, and it's about proof, right? I think the players respond to proof, right? And last week for them against UTEP, you saw some of that proof. Hey, we're going to come out. We're going to work hard. When we do get down at times, we can come back. And it's just hard. It's really hard, right? For a team that won one game last year, and then you're on a 12-game losing streak. It just thoughts start creeping into your mind as the game starts turning of, oh, here we go again. And it's a very difficult mental thing to break. And I think the only way as a player to have that be broken is to go out there and experience success in those
when
moments.
It does break, right?
Exactly, and that requires really, if the offense is struggling, the defense stepping up. So the offense knows, hey, I can rely on my defense. Vice versa, if the defense is struggling, it's saying, okay, just one more time, get me the ball back to my offense, and they'll make a play. And then you run into the games like this, right, where Duke just has really dominated from the starting whistle all the way until now. And that's where, that face, that look is like, okay, there's nothing I can say at this moment that's really going to change the mindset of my players. It just has to be innate into the culture.
Have you seen anything from them as they're going to go for it here on 4th down that you like, though? I mean, they start Big Ten play against Minnesota at home next week.
Yep.
And so they're going to have to button some things up.
Yeah, and I kind of like the faster paced offense. And they're spreading it out, and Ben Bryant's able to deliver some good balls. That one was picked off, and Miles Jones with his second interception in as many weeks.
Just sat on it, didn't he?
Just sat on it. And as I was going to say, hey, Ben Bryant gets in that rhythm as things kind of move a little faster. That he tried to force it. And that's the type of problem I mentioned that Miles Jones is, right? At that length and that quickness, the ability to sit and break on a football. I mean, talk to Coach Elko and talk to Santucci, who both had him when he was at Texas A&M. They said, this guy, he can be the real deal. He just has dealt with a lot of injuries over the past few years. And it was interesting. I asked Santucci, I said, hey, that interception last week, did that do anything for his confidence? He said, yes. He said, expect more. There it is.
And we got more. We expected to see Henry Beelan, and we see him, too, a quarterback for Duke. Hands it off to Moore. Jaquez is going to give you about 6 yards. Jalen Pate on the tackle, graduate student from Northwestern. So both teams bringing on some players from the bench. There's a good look at Henry Beelan's numbers.
And Beelan's more the pocket passer, kind of wants to stay in the pocket, throw the ball downfield. We've seen Riley Leonard and how, hey, if he sees a lane, he's going to pull the ball down and run. Beelan would rather move around and find a receiver downfield. He also has a very strong arm.
You see, he's went to Cardinal Hayes in the Bronx. Gives it off to the new tailback in the game, Peyton Jones, getting some run here in the second half for Duke. He'll pick up a couple. Devin Turner on the tackle. There's Peyton Jones. True freshman out of Norfolk.
Hey, coaches, it's interesting when you talk about certain freshmen, right? And a lot of times there's not very many freshmen on the 2 deep, right? But when there is one and a coach lights up when you mention his name, that is what we got from number 21. When we brought up, hey, tell me a little bit about Peyton Jones. They were like, ooh, he could be a special, special talent.
Correct. And he's biding his time right now as he tried to fight for first down yardage there and did just that. Turner again on the tackle, but they'll move the sticks. But you think about it, he's got Waters and Moore ahead of him, and they're entrenched.
Yep.
Jalen Coleman, who we haven't seen much.
At all.
Yeah, he's a fast guy sprinter. So Peyton Jones is just trying to work his way in, but you see at 5'10", 201 pounds, I mean, he already looks like he's a workout warrior.
Yep, and really for the running back, there's so much more to the running back position than just running the football, right? It's setting up blocks. It's understanding the blocking combinations in front of you. And so the coach said, look, we have a package for him. It's just narrowed down. We don't want to give him too much where he has to think too much when he plays.
No thinking on this one. That's just natural ability.
There it is.
Skips over a defender and goes 15 yards for the score.
And we're talking about an offensive line, too, that has a bunch of backups in there, creating more holes again, and really good little leap over the line of scrimmage. Just a good job of washing it down and almost not even touched until the 1 yard line. There you go, Peyton Jones.
First touchdown as a member of this Blue Devils squad, celebrating with his teammates.
Yeah, and therefore first collegiate touchdown. Wonder if you keep the balls after your touchdowns in college.
How many did you score in college?
2.
And you have both footballs, right?
No, I had to give them
What?
back. Yeah, you know.
Work on claiming those footballs next time we're in Boston. Ready for FAU at Clemson tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. Kelsey and the crew. Eric McLean's probably at Esso. Got to go find him, drag him back to the desk. Get ready for the ACC huddle. See that always on the ACC network and streaming live on the ESPN app. They'll have some time to break down everything that happened in the ACC today. Our game and big game that was earlier today in Chestnut Hill, the red bandana game. Boston College acquitted themselves very well, pushing Florida State right to the very end.
Yeah, they did. And same penalty problems for Boston College, but they showed a lot of life behind Thomas Castellanos.
Yeah, they got a playmaker at quarterback.
I mean, they do. I mean, he is electric. And they got some work to do, obviously, but gave Florida State a good run.
I feel like we haven't seen Florida State's best game yet. I mean, they handled LSU in the opener.
Yeah, that was
maybe,
pretty good.
Maybe the last couple of games, I'll say. Offensively, they haven't lived up to the promise that they showed in that opener. I'll say that. Everything you thought you'd see from Jordan Travis, and Wilson was back, and now you had Coleman at wide receiver.
Yeah, Trey Benson at running back,
yes.
too.
You thought it would be unstoppable.
Right. And, wins are wins, right? But it just, I think the dominating performance that you maybe expected to see against Boston College, wasn't necessarily there. And credit to Jeff Hafley and getting his team ready for that game.
There's no foul on the play for a block in the back.
Man,
First down, Northwestern.
Officials conferring. At least they're getting it right. Confer and pick up the flag. Yeah. We are seeing Brendan Sullivan in a quarterback now for Northwestern. Caleb Komolafe is at a tailback as well. Sullivan to throw. Steps up. Hits Komolafe out of the backfield. Dances his way close to the marker to gain. Be about a foot short. Kendall Johnson on the tackle.
Yeah, Komolafe is another one of those true freshman running backs. Very similar to Peyton Jones, where the coordinators and the coaches lit up when they were talking about his potential for the future.
Sullivan stepping up. Tries to get away from the blitz, can't. Michael Reese on the sack. Up by Aaron Hall. Both get credit for a half sack. Third down for the Wildcats. Yard shy of midfield. Sullivan again to throw. Steps up. He can run for the first down, and he gets there. Johnson again running him out of bounds.
Kendall Johnson, I'm impressed with him. He made that big sack earlier in the game. He's another true freshman that they're very excited about on the defensive side of the ball out of Maryland.
Komolafe on the reception. Josh Pickett there to stop him in his tracks, but he picks up 3.
You talked about where Northwestern's going from here, right? Because the starting Big Ten play, you're gonna have Minnesota at home, and there's gonna be there's work, right? There's work that needs to be done. There's an identity that needs to be formed, but I do think that this is a team that has definitely improved since last year. I mean, you see it in their ability to move the ball at times. You see it in their ability to make big stops towards the goal line. And David Braun, when you talk to him about just the overall standing of the program, he understands, hey, there's work that needs to be done, right? We need to do some things a little bit better, and they're going back to work every single day, got practice to try to get there. And they have a lot of young players that they're excited to develop. Hyman being one of them as a true sophomore. We mentioned Komolafe. And we'll see the emergence of what Jack Lausch can do. We saw him at times, a big run in this game, a big run last game. Just needs a lot more development at that quarterback spot.
Sullivan 5 for 5 on this drive. It's the Wildcats down to the 25.
And he started 4 games for them last year. Almost 600 yards passing. He's a very capable quarterback.
He's going to run a design quarterback draw. Backwards, unfortunately. Gain maybe a yard. Joshua Pickett on the tackle.
And on the flip side, Duke. They come out of here with a win. Then they go at UConn. And then they got Notre Dame here. Notre Dame, NC State, Florida State, Louisville, Wake Forest, UNC, right? That is a stretch that is really going to show, hey, what is this Duke team made of? And we saw Clemson, that big win against Clemson, and then you're going to hit that tough slate towards the middle of the season. End of September, October is going to be big for Duke.
I mean, you got to just don't even sleep on UConn and Coach Mora, bowl team last year. So it's really tough sledding from here on out for Duke. As Sullivan keeps it and picks up the first down. Look at their schedule coming up.
Yep.
Get ready every week.
Notre Dame, Florida State, Louisville looked really good. They got, it's really, they got the big 3, right? Some teams in the ACC with this new schedule format look at their schedule and they say, oh, we don't have any of the big boys. Well, they got them all. They got UNC, they got Clemson, they got Notre Dame, they got Florida State. They have to play all the best to prove they're the best.
Sullivan going to the end zone. Incomplete. Got Pickett on the coverage. Reggie Florima, the intended receiver. Wildcats have had success on 3rd down in this drive. They'll need to convert another one to keep it going. 3 for 3 so far on this drive. Sullivan scores. First score all year that this Duke defense has given up in the second half.
And this one won't hurt them, obviously, but good block and a good run up the middle. Confidence builder for some of these backups.
Jack Olson in for the try. And he nails it. Brendan Sullivan getting congratulations on the sideline. 38-14, Duke's on top.
Football is the game of life, and it brings the community together.
This year than it was last year. And he just continues to come out and not only meet expectations, but exceed them and lead his team to become better players. And he just is such a fascinating kid to cover and watch, and such a bright future.
From Fairhope, Alabama, South Alabama, it's down near Mobile. Great basketball player in high school.
Yeah, he does a lot in that community too. He conducts a camp every year for young football players in that area, grades 1 through 8, and bring some friends down too. Graham Barton went down, Tim Carter, and you know, it just, I think he loves giving back to that community. It's a very special spot for him. So to be able to give back and conduct a camp down there, really cool thing that he does as a college football player.
Beelan handing off. Travis Bates with a big run of 31 yards.
Travis Bates is that close to breaking one.
Breaking it all the way.
It was his last chance too.
Right, inside of a minute. Now we're going V victory formation. One knee should be enough from Henry Beelan. And that will do it. Coach Elko, the thumbs up. And you can see a lot of firsts. We've seen a lot of firsts from Coach Elko. Last year we saw a bunch, and another one this year as this Duke football team continues to impress and remain unbeaten. 38-14 the final. Balanced offensive attack, 268 on the ground, 219 in the air. 0 turnovers.